live stream on this video today. Today, I want to discuss with you how I prepared for my marriage or for my wedding. That was about 15 years ago, because my first daughter, so today is 15 years old or more. So I want to share with you on this channel, Families and Relationship, how I prepared and how I got married to my wife about 15 years ago. The date of my marriage then was 14th of March, and I call the date Valentine's date in March because Valentine's date is 14. But the issue is that Valentine's Day is 14th of February. But I now call my Valentine's date in March. So that was the day I got married. I think I got married at the age of 28/29. And I looked at it that my own father got married earlier than me, maybe about 26, 27. That was when he got married. And my mother got married at 19. And I was already close to 30, even as a man. Most men don't bother, but I have read a lot. Biographies, marriage books, Encyclopedia Americana, which my father used to have at home, and I used to read it from cover to cover. I read about marriage, read about education, work, read about many things. So from that encyclopedia, I've drawn some lessons and from other teachings in the church and in books and from what I can gather around me about what made some people's marriage what it is and what made some people's marriage what it is not. So based on all this, I made up my mind that I was going to get married at the time I got married. The person I married also was ready. We married through a kind of church arrangement, which we took outside of the church, but got married in the church eventually and did our registry. Now, let me just talk about some things that culminated in marriage and the preparations. I've already said I was ready to get married. I did not indulge so much in boyfriend-girlfriend relationship when I was growing up. So I was not so much involved. So I didn't really have a girlfriend that you can say, this is his girlfriend, they're going out together. I didn't have that because of my church background or bringing. So I was religious, righteous, and working in that kind of way. And it's good because it made me to focus on my education and what is important for me in life. And as of today, I have a PhD. All thanks to those teachings those days, because during the BSc, I didn't have any girlfriend. So I was studying my books very well and doing good. I did my master's too, no girlfriend, but I've seen that lady, the lady I got married to, I've seen her already. So but I've seen the lady I got married to as at then when I was going for my master's, even when I went for NYC. I've seen the person I wanted to get married to, but I can't speak to her. I approached the marriage committee of my church then, and they told me that I need to hold on until when the lady is, when I'm done with my NYSC. So after NYSC, I came around and I approached the marriage committee of my church. The marriage committee still asked me to hold on, then I need to wait until the lady is so, they want her to prepare more. So by so doing, I went for masters again. By the time I came back, I approached the committee again, and then the process of marriage started. We went for medical tests in the hospital, did some tests, HIV tests, and thereabouts, blood tests to confirm compatibility. Then after all this, they allowed me to talk to a lady. Then I spoke to a lady. After some time, after maybe a month or so, she came back and said yes, that she agreed. So preparation started. I told my parents that I've seen the person I want to get married to. So we discussed it. Then we planned. So she came to visit. I invited her to visit. She visited and saw my family, saw my mom, saw my dad, saw my home. Then we planned our engagement. So the engagement, not engagement, sorry, we planned the introduction. So I went to see her dad also, like 2 times or 3 times. I went to her house to see her mother, to see her father. Then we planned the introduction. So my father got together his people. My mother also her friends, and some of my friends also went with us for the introduction. We went, rented an 18-seater bus. It was in Lagos. So we went, and I was living in Lagos then. So we went for the introduction, and the introduction was even like an engagement because it was so loaded the way it was done. After this, we settled back. Then we planned for the engagement and the wedding, and then we began planning and arranging everything. And then my father had a house where he wanted me to also stay with him, but I said no, I don't want to stay with him, with my wife and everybody. I want my wife to have a kind of independence. So I got some money for to rent the house. My father also supported me with some money. So I rented a house about two bus stops, I have to take two buses before I can get to where I rented from my father's house. Or if I'm living where I'm rented, I have to take two buses to get to where my father was living. So we moved on. And then we planned the marriage. So I paid for the invitation card. I paid for the birthday and the wedding cake. What did I pay for again? I paid for my clothes, and I gave my wife money to buy her own clothes. Then what else? Um, the hall, the food, everything. My parents and my wife's parents took care of that, and they took care of other things also. And then the marriage went fine, and people from my place of work where I was working in Lagos, then they came, they gave me gifts, and many things. Everything went on fine. What I want to say here is that as at that time, I did not have a chair in my room. I didn't have chair. I just packed some chairs, plastic chair, and some old chairs that my father had in his store. That was what I had in my sitting room. So I just had that. I didn't have all it took. I didn't have all the settings that I needed to to welcome visitors. But in my own modest way, I started with plastic chair and thereabout. I have my bed, big bed. That's the bed. I still use that bed till today. Very big bed. I made sure it was mighty bed. I bought it then in Lagos. I bought it and then the guy brought it to the house, paid for it, and I made bed also the bed, the wooden, this thing. So I made that one ready, at least for action when the wife comes. So um, what else? Okay, I'm trying to look at this. It's saying I speak Spanish. Abdul says hi. Pizza Cars says I speak Spanish. No, Pizza Car. Hola. Yeah, thank you, Pizza Car. And thank you for all your comments. So I I did not have a chair in my living room when I got married. So when my wife came, no chair. So actually, um, after we got married, my wife got pregnant, and then I had some money in my account, so I kept that money that in case of emergency due to the pregnancy, I can use that money that I kept in my account for the emergency. But as God will have it, throughout the time of pregnancy up to delivery, there was no issue. She delivered safely. I did not even tell anybody about the delivery until after she had delivered before I started calling people and I was sure she was fine. So I started calling people and I told people, her parents, my own parents, I told them, this is what have happened. She has put to bed. And then they started coming around and calling us and thereabout. So that very Saturday, she gave put to bed on the Saturday. So on the Sunday, I was going back home from the hospital. I saw where they were selling SETI chair like this one, SETI. So I saw where they're selling that chair. So I stopped over, I priced the chair, and we bargained for some amount of thousands of naira. And on the spot, I told them to pack it and follow me. So they packed it, follow me, and they took it to the house. So what it means is that when my wife went to deliver her baby, we were not having chairs in the living room. By the time she came back, we were having cheers and many other things happened. I was so happy at the birth of my firstborn. It was a good one. I was so happy that I've become a father. I've become a father. I was so happy. I was so joyful. And the joy knew no bound. The joy of having my first child was much more than the joy of the wedding that I had. I was so joyful. I was so happy. So I've become a father now. So I'm a father. I was always playing Sonny Ade's song. Aria Olomo, Iya Olomo Kwewu. I was always playing it. It was on my laptop, playing it back to back, back to back, back to back, because I was so happy. So this is just a story of how I got married. The lesson I want you to learn is that I got married. I was not so bulky financially, but I had a steady job. I worked with a company in Lagos, so I had a steady job, and I have a steady job, and everything that went on fine. Many people today, they will say, until when they get such and such amount of money before they get married, until when they get such and such amount of money before they get married. You don't need money. Is not what you need to get married. What you need to get married is you, the host, the man, being ready to get married, and the wife being ready to get married, and then you have a roof over your head, and then you have other things, source of income regular. The marriage is just a ceremony. The wedding is a ceremony. So if you can get people that can sponsor or that can support you, like in my own case, the only thing I knew I did was I paid for the cake, the wedding cake. I paid for my wedding suit, my wife's wedding clothes, and I paid for the invitation card. I can't remember any other thing I paid for regarding the wedding, the hall, the wedding hall, the rice, the food they cooked. I don't know about it. Part of the engagement material, I can't remember if I contributed to the buying of the material. My father was around to help, and other family members assisted my father to make things easy. So you see, it's not about you; it's about the people that surround you. It was a great wedding ceremony. It was a good one. So I'm glad to stop here for now. I'll be coming back in some hours time to do another live and talk about some other aspects of my married life. My wife also will be coming up later to talk about some aspects of wedding and childbearing and how she handles certain things during delivery and after delivery and before delivery. So this is the Families and Relationship YouTube channel. Keep coming back and you are going to have a good one. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.